Another SCOD music radio experiment brought to you live with recordings.
Go to their homes, and our rainy day is a good day because they'll invite you to at least try to get out of the road. Get out there. You must get out there, talk to everyone. Talk to everyone. And also write up something about yourself because they need to know more about you and what you stand for. Very interesting people in Harpers Ferry, if you haven't found that out already, and every one of them have wonderful ideas that we're going to work on. I think the churches are very important in town, and that's why it's really uniquely American, besides all the great events that happened there. The John Brown story and the story of how Harpers Ferry got started with the water power and the armoring also. And
Virginia Valley.
Oh, yes. Several points of view are given. We in Harpers Ferry exercise all our rights to be in a crowd and we vote, which is so important. Very interesting people in Harpers Ferry. If you haven't found that out already, and every one of them has wonderful ideas that we're going to work on. The John Brown story and the story of how the story gets started with the water power and the armor and also the John Brown. About it, we knew what each side was doing.
It made me really understand, okay, this is not about memorizing names and dates. This is the story of how we got, to be who we are.
What rings that bell, do you think, in people? There's an assumption that younger people are bored by history, their eyes glaze over when you start talking history.
I don't think they've been taught it properly. I don't think I was taught it properly. Again, I think there's all this fixation on names and dates and great men and great women and great speeches and all the rest of the stuff. The thing that gives, all of that any meaning is, the quote-unquote little people and the lives that they lived and the stuff that they went through, to all the stuff that's going on underneath that we never really learn about. That is what makes history fascinating to me. It was frightening and it was also embarrassing, when you looked at it, because you wanted to say, didn't this kind of stuff stop happening in 1930 something or 1940? Who's it? I mean, to really just come up and fearmonger like this for an entire population.
Would it be happening if 9/11 had never happened?
No. I think 9/11, I think one of the great sort of unspoken casualties of 9/11 was the fact that it took Muslims off what I call sort of this path to assimilation.
To assimilation.
To assimilation. Sort of unspoken casualties of 9/11. To assimilation. Sort of unspoken casualties of 9/11. Sort of. On September 10th, 2001, Muslims were on the same path to assimilation that had been followed by Jews, that had been followed by, Catholics, that had been followed by, so many other racial, cultural, ethnic, and religious groups before them. And I think that after that, those attacks, they were just sort of wrenched off the rails and probably lost 25, 30 years in progress.
Was this feeling of complete unsettledness, that your orderly little life suddenly is just blown apart?
I think that's what we've been living with for the last decade, to tell you the truth, since September 11th. Just this sense that our orderly little lives are blown apart. Every time it looks like maybe we'll settle down, something new. That's what the recession, is about. This has been a decade of being unsettled. A decade of being unsettled.
All that's happened since then, the Patriot Act, everything else, Guantanamo, all of this has gotten
I think that in a lot of ways we are reinstated. The 50s, the Red Scare, McCarthyism, the whole deal. And again, you could see that coming. Again, you could see that coming. Again, you can see that coming. Again, you can see that coming. On September 11th as well. The problem with us as Americans is that when we get scared, we tend to do things that are un-American. We tend to do things that are a little bit crazy. When we get frightened, the first impulse, and I guess this is human as much as it is American, the first impulse is we'll do anything or go with anybody or take any path that promises to make us safe again. The first impulse, and I guess this is human as much as it is American, the first impulse is we'll do anything or go with anybody or take any path that promises to make us safe again. And I think the thing that we never failed to, or that we never seem to quite realize is we were never safe. Our orderly little lives, that was always just an illusion. And we were allowed, George Will had this great phrase, I believe it was George Will had this great phrase, that we thought we were living at the end of history. All the bad stuff's already happened. It's 2001. Yeah, we're all good.
And democracy is going to spread throughout the globe. That's the Fukuyama idea, the end of history too, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And guess what? There is no end of history. We were never safe, and we will never be safe. Being safe is not a condition of living. The most that we can be is safer. And my feeling is that you want the maximum amount of safety and security that is compatible with our ideals as Americans. And beyond that, I think we just need to suck it up.
Are we in balance, though, with those ideals as Americans?
No.
Where are we falling off?
Defense of torture troubles me. The Patriot Act and the idea of government agents looking into what books I've read and what things I've purchased troubles me. There's the whole sense of erosion of the right of free expression troubles me. It troubles me when some guy got arrested at a shopping mall for wearing a T-shirt that said "Give peace a chance." These are troubling things. To me, the only time that torture could be justified is where the bomb is hidden. It's going to go off in half an hour, and you're stonewalling. In which case, okay, I can see the case for torture. But beyond that, I don't see. I don't see that. Our whole thing is about saving America, but we got to realize that saving America is more than saving a geographic place. It's more than saving people. It's also about saving an ideal. What do we like to do? Pleased to call ourselves the last best hope of humanity on Earth and all this other good stuff. Well, that's an ideal, and that implies a certain amount of courage that, frankly, we don't always live up to. Our ideals are larger than we are most of the times in our history.
We fought a war in Iraq, partly as a result. Well, as a result, we were told of Al Qaeda, Osama bin Laden. Cost us a lot of money to go into Iraq. Some people thought that there would be an oil benefit, an energy benefit to our investment of military might in Iraq. What's the long-term result of all of that, of Iraq specifically?
So anything bad that happens or anything negative has a positive impact on crude prices.
The current estimates say that we probably have well over 100 years of coal, about 50 years of oil, 60 years of natural gas. But the question isn't whether in the short term we're going to have enough energy, but what's going to happen 50 years from now? What's going to happen 100 years from now? Because even though we might still have the energy, as the supply dwindles, we're going to see the prices for the consumer go way up. And the people who can comfortably afford that will be fine, but what about the people who can't?
2006, we had about 100 kilowatts of solar on our grid. Today, we've got 15,000 kilowatts of solar on our grid. And with the projects that I know are under construction, I think that's going to double in the next 6 months and double again in the following 6 months. That said, it is a small drop in the bucket. Right now, we get about 3.5% of Maryland's electricity from renewable. We are 60% coal, 30% nuclear. So while it's increasing significantly, we've got a long way to go.
Really, if you look over the last 30 years or so, the percentage of our electricity generation that comes from renewables has actually gone down. We aren't increasing our production from renewables. We're increasing it quite a bit, but we're not increasing it at nearly the rate we need to keep up with our insatiable appetite for more and more and more energy in this country.
Or oil, gas, and coal, saying that what they're doing is clean. And when you look at the destruction of the mountaintops and the amount of heavy metals, all kinds of pollutants that they're putting into the system, even to the point...
Gas and the issues, the environmental issues presented by the hydrofracking.
The prices of gas at the pump.
Oil and gas prices are a hot button issue. There's something you have no control over.
The prices of gas at the pump.
Oil and gas prices are a hot button issue. There's something you have no control over. But by June, there will be over 80 stations throughout Maryland that you could go, public stations, to refuel your electric vehicle.
It seems that what we need are a more renewable supply and less demand for energy overall. But are either of those things realistic in 20 or 30 years from now with the growth in population we're expecting?
But I don't think people are going to change their lifestyles, and it's the reality of it's a cost we have to pay. It's pretty much a constant. You can't eliminate it. I actually think that's short-term thinking. The technology exists right now.
Passive house, and these houses use 90% less energy for heating and cooling. Passive house.
Really, really disturbs me that unless the big fellas are making money, you're not going to promote it. So what's out there for energy that would be no emission, and it's been around for over 100 years, you ignore it, and that's hydro. So what's it going to kill the fish or do something? But we have all of this water, all of these dams have been used, and if they need tremendous energy projections, and right nearby is a dam, not even hooked up.
Dan, dam. But what about hydropower? Did that come up any?
Micro hydro. Offshore wind. I'm far more optimistic about the fuel mix. Unfortunately, crude hurts a lot of people, though, and that's the reality of it. Unfortunately, crude hurts a lot of people, though, and that's the reality of it. Unfortunately, crude hurts a lot of people, though, and that's the reality of it.
This is the project. This is the project. This is the project. This is the project.
something serene, something serene, 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 serene. Something serene. Go Jay, go Jay.